Hi, hello, today we're going to be doing another Reddit story video. Also, I cut my hair, and I don't know if I like it or not. We'll see. We're doing another trans Reddit video. Let's get started. Am I the asshole for being mad at my parents for missing my birthday because of my trans sibling's appointment? I just turned 17, in parentheses guy, and I have an 18-year-old FTM brother. He's going through the steps of having bottom surgery and all the different treatments. I don't exactly know the names. My parents and him had to fly out to meet some doctors, and they had to go during my birthday. Because I am 17, they let me stay at home alone. The problem was it was my birthday, and I was really hoping to be with family. I ended up blowing out the candles alone on a crappy cookie and started crying. I felt so lonely and wanted to be with my family. Lately, I have been put on the back burner because of my brother. Oh, they all got back 2 days later, and all my brother could talk about was himself. It was so frustrating for me. Even during my makeup birthday dinner, they talked about the trip. I got up after dinner and asked if we could talk about something else. I said I was pissed that they couldn't celebrate on my actual birthday, and told them this. My parents said I was being unbelievably selfish for saying this, and my brother was hurt. Am I the asshole? I don't think they're the asshole. I believe that this whole thing was avoidable. Like, they could have FaceTimed him on his birthday, or left gifts for him to open, or made a cake and had him able to have a like. Why did he not have a cake? Why did they not FaceTime him? Why did they not bring him? I mean, I'm not gonna say bring him on the trip exactly, because money is a thing and people are struggling with money now. Also, I wouldn't leave a 17-year-old kid home alone while I went on a trip. I don't know about you, but well, 17 is. It's still like a teen, and they're still kind of young. And the comments were saying that the brother was an adult so he could go on his own, but 18 is still, in my opinion, kind of young. What could have happened, too, is the parents could have, one went with the trans son, and one stayed home with the son who had his birthday coming up. There's so many ways that this could have, not been an issue, but I think the parents are a little bit stupid. I feel bad saying that, because I love a supportive parent. We love supportive parents on this channel. But even though you're trying to support one kid, you need to also be supportive to your other kids. Am I the asshole for being angry that my trans friend is slowly morphing into me? It's like that meme, that Twitter meme. I'll put it here somewhere, but oh, this is a long story. Okay, I'm on mobile, so excuse any typos. All names are fake. I'm 21, Alexa is 28. I moved to France at the beginning of the school year and met and befriended Alexa, who at the time identified as Alex. Alex was a blonde white man, and I'm a Middle Eastern woman. A couple of months after, Alex came out as trans and told us that she would be starting her transition. We were all happy for her, and that was that. She jokingly mentioned that I was going to be her mentor for femininity because our two other girlfriends are tomboys. Alexa and I had very different interests and tastes, but following her coming out, she started to get interested in my hobbies, which was great because who doesn't want more friends to like the same things they do? Except as time went on, it became more and more intrusive. I would speak to Alexa about a new club or a new interest, and she would be indifferent to it. But as soon as I joined, she would show up as well and express how much she loved the specific thing. I dabbled into art for a while, and when she heard this, she went and bought a lot of expensive equipment. When I told her I was no longer into it, she sold her equipment. This happened repeatedly with about 3 hobbies. I changed the D&D group I was in because of a scheduling conflict made up of mutual friends, and she immediately followed me to the new one, which conflicted with her own schedule and was full of strangers. She would change her opinions on things to match mine exactly, and would never disagree with me on any stance. If I say the greatest movie is so-and-so, so is hers. If I change that opinion a week later, so does she. She then cut her hair to my length, colored it black, and started curling it to match mine. I figured she was just experimenting with new things. Then she started tanning and using spray tans to get her skin looking like mine. That was the beginning of stepping into inappropriate behavior. She signed up for Arabic classes shortly after and went on to decorate her bedroom as close to mine as she can. Then she found my ex through Facebook and started talking to him. I don't even have my ex friended, which means she went and looked for him by name and had to filter out hundreds of profiles. She then adopted a cat that looked exactly like mine, missing eye included, and said I inspired her to do so. She also started photoshopping a scar like mine in her photos. But here's the last straw. She now announced that she wants to change her name to a new one, a short version of mine, an extremely Arab name that she can't even pronounce right. I've told her that her behavior bothered me multiple times. She would apologize, then just do it again. I reached out to her and told her I no longer want to be friends and that I think she's being very weird. I'm now being called an asshole and transphobic. She also told our mutual friends who are taking her side, except one. Am I the asshole? First off, no, they're not the asshole, obviously. At the first, I was like, okay, this girl just is looking up to her. I don't think it has anything to do with being trans, per se. Because, like, if a cis person did there's a Reddit story I saw on Smosh's Reddit stories where a cis person would, did the same thing where they copied a girl. Like, the girl dyed her hair one color and they copied that. They copied the style. And then they found out she was exactly copying because the original girl pretended to shave her head, like, had a bald cap or something. And then the other girl came into school with a bald. So I think no matter the gender, no matter trans or not, whatever, it's creepy to, like, morph into a person. Don't you want to be like yourself? There was another Reddit story I saw, again in the Smosh Reddit videos, where this girl, like, morphed into this guy's ex-girlfriend, and she would take photos. She had, like, a huge folder on her computer or iPad or something where it was, like, XXX, and it had photos of his ex and, like, the hairstyle she wears and clothes she has. It's just, I said this already, but this is not about being trans. This is about copying everything this OP is doing, which is creepy. I think OP needs to get the fuck away from this person as fast as possible. And the thing I'm not understanding is it says their friends are taking her side, which is literally crazy. I'm a little bit skeptical because of that. If I saw one friend literally, like, turning into my other friend, I'd be like, there's something going on here. Am I the asshole for being unsympathetic to a trans guy that's mad at being dominated by cis guys on the swim team? Using a throwaway. So there's this FTM trans guy at my school, let's call him Don, since I'm watching Mad Men, LOL, who recently came out as trans. He says he isn't transitioning, using hormone therapy or anything of the sort to transition. As a girl, he was a pretty good swimmer on the team who did the 100M, I think it's 100 meter. He switched over to the male team. The coach casually told him the competition might be a little stiff, not in a harsh, transphobic way, more just you might want to be aware / prepare yourself kind of way. Don nodded along and said that that's okay. But the way he's been acting recently shows he thinks it's anything except fair. Since our swim team is pretty competitive, we won state last year. His times for the 100M fell to near bottom of the pack, and he's been whining about this, calling it unfair and saying he should get a handicap of some sort. I disagree with this partially. I do agree that it's unfair that he has to swim up with the cis guys as a biological female not undergoing transition, but he decided to join the male team knowing the competition would be stiff. I know it may have been triggering for him to stay on the girls team, but it's a trade-off. If he wants to be on the male team, he can hardly expect to be given advantages over the other guys. One time after practice when Don was complaining, I civilly shared my opinion. He got offended at this. Am I the asshole? No. Phone almost dropped again. I think it's almost transphobic to assume, like, that you should get a handicap. Okay, let's start off by saying trans people and how they go in sports or whatever is a controversial thing in general. I don't have many opinions on it because I'm not a sports person. I don't do sports. I don't watch sports. It's just not my thing. The idea that he thinks he should get a handicap is almost transphobic. If it was from anyone else but him, it would be considered transphobic because, like, oh, you're assuming that this person isn't exactly like you're assuming this person isn't like a guy because you're saying that they deserve a handicap. And maybe I'm, like, completely off with saying this, I don't know. I don't blame OP for being a little bit insensitive about it, but is it really her business to be, like, inserting her opinion into this? Because the guy everybody complains sometimes. Everybody. I complain a lot. I come on here and complain, and y'all don't have to listen to me. Y'all can tell me I'm wrong, but, like, I have the right to complain, just like this person has the right to complain. It says, one time after practice when Don was complaining, I civilly shared my opinion. He got offended at this. I think if someone's complaining, you don't civilly share your opinion, you just let them complain. I think Nobody's an asshole here. Also, these are kids, I think, right? They're in school and have like a swim practice. I'm assuming they're in like high school or something, which would make them kids. So like, I don't want to say anyone's the asshole here. Okay, this one, the verdict is not the asshole, but it says, am I the asshole for dead naming and avoiding a trans student? I'm a high school teacher, and this year I'm teaching a student I've not taught before. After our first lesson, the student came up to me and told me they're trans, FTM, and prefer I use their chosen name instead of the name on roll. I was happy to do so. Next day, they left the room crying. I found them and they explained that they were upset because they came out to their mother the night before and she didn't accept them. We talked it over and I offered what advice and comfort I could and made sure they were seeing a school counselor. Afterwards, I mentioned it to another teacher. They rolled their eyes and told me this student changes their name every other day and has come out several times. The student went through more name changes and was often coming to me upset and needing to talk. They also do things like pretending to not be able to breathe in class, and pretending to limp on a broken foot, walking when they thought I wasn't looking. They started showing up outside my classroom and office to talk, would usually take up about an hour of my time. At first I was happy to because I was concerned, but the more it went on I realized they just wanted attention. It also made me feel uncomfortable and I need to protect myself from anyone getting the wrong idea. I started pretending to be busy in meetings, asking other teachers to rescue me, etc. One day they emailed me telling me they had changed their name again. It's so awkward in class whenever I use their new name for the first time because the reaction from the other students is like, who the fuck is that? Next day I'm calling roll. I get to the student and I can't remember what the new name is. I default to their birth name. I use it again a few more times and they'll listen. At the end of the class, they came up to me and asked, why did you dead name me? I hadn't heard the term before and I was like, huh? Then the student just explodes on me, starts screaming and crying, using my birth name. Don't you know it fucking kills me when you do that? I was a bit stunned and said, honestly, you changed your name so much I couldn't remember the new name. That evening, I wrote the student an email. I explained that although I respect everyone's gender identity and their right to choose a new name to go with, I don't think they have the right to change their name whenever they feel like it and use gender identity as an excuse. That they need to choose a name and stick with it, and if they keep changing, they can't expect people to respect it. Since then, I've been avoiding the student. I teach them in class but ignore their fake injuries, and when I see them waiting outside my classroom or office, I just say, go to class, or not now, I have a meeting. I have passed everything on to the counselor, and they have advised me to make my boundaries clear and to not let them take up my time. I don't know, at first when I started reading this, I was like, this is a kid. They're confused. Part of me wants to be like, this person's a kid, they're confused, they're figuring out gender and stuff like that. But as the teacher said, as OP said, it's hard to like keep track of a name if this person keeps choosing it. I'm a little stumped on this one. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. If they change names so often, they can't expect people to go with the new names. Maybe instead of using their dead name, I would have used the first name they told me to use, like the old, like not their birth name, but the first name after that they learned. I would use that just as like a respect thing and not using their dead name, or use the last name you know of them using. I don't want to say anyone's the asshole, and I don't want to say like anything bad about the student because they're obviously young and they're obviously figuring things out. And I think this teacher is actually kind of cool because they respected this kid and respected the name changes until it reached a certain point. And not all teachers would do that. Not a lot of teachers would like try to give them that much lenience, you know? I don't know if lenience was the right word. I don't think anyone's the asshole here. The kid is just being a kid and going through shit and acting up and pretending to not be able to breathe and shit. And the teacher's trying their best to take care of this child and teach them things and be a good, role model. Be a good role model. I think it says in the comments, I skimmed the comments, this kid needs like actual therapy and someone who is like trained to talk to them about topics like this. Okay, I wanted to read another story, but I guess my camera has no space on it, so I'm gonna go. I'll read more stories next time. I will see you later. Comment, like, subscribe. Goodbye.